Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I am grateful to Swami Chidananda ji for suggesting this topic, light of all lights. Jyotisham api Jyoti. This is a common question often asked by Vedantic acharyas. The acharya shows his hand and asks us, what do you see? So the answer is, I see your hand. The next question is, how do you see the hand? Through introspection, we learn I'm able to see the hand, or any object for that matter that I can see, is because of light on the hand. We normally take the light on any object for granted. From now on, let us have an enlightened view. That means whatever I see in this world, seeing is possible only for one reason, because there is light on that object. So from now on, a person with this understanding will say, I see so many objects around me. I normally take one thing for granted, that I'm able to see all these objects because there is light on those objects. The next question is, how do I see those objects? It is because of my eyes. My eyes are functioning. And my eyes are able to see because my mind is functioning. My mind is able to see because my mind is enlivened by consciousness. The Kenopanishad has a very nice mantra to remember. Pratibodha Viditam Matam. In every experience, can I see the experiencer? So the whole exercise is from the object to the subject, from that which is seen to the seer. In Sanskrit, it is called from Drishyam to Drik, from Anatma to Atma, to that which is unreal or asat to sat, from Deva. Deva means light. Divyati, that which illumines. Deva also means the sense organs. From Deva to Mahadeva, that is consciousness. From the light to light of all lights. So what is light? Light is electromagnetic radiation that can be detected by the human eyes. That is from 380 to 780 nanometers, from the infrared to the ultraviolet range. So in this talk, we will touch a little about what is this light, how do I get to see any object because of light, and who is that ultimate seer, the light of all lights. Now, from an Advaita Vedanta perspective, Brahman can be compared to white light. The mind can be compared to a prism. And when the white light passes through the prism, a whole spectrum of the rainbow comes, and which is the world of our experience. In the Mandukya Upanishad and the Karikas, Gaudapadacharya calls this as Alata Shanti. That means if you take a torch and you swing it around, it creates various patterns. And because of the patterns, you're not able to see the original light. And because of the rapid movement, you see a variety of patterns. There is a nice verse in the Mandukya Karika. It goes like this. Yata swapne dvaya basam spandate mayaya manaha, which means this whole dream world is because of the projection within the mind. So too, tata jagrat dvaya basam spandate mayaya manaha. There is another theme called total internal reflection. What is total internal reflection? If light passes from a denser medium, for example, from underwater to the air, but if it passes at a certain angle that is beyond a critical angle, now the surface of the water serves as a mirror. That means Instead of the light going through and through, it gets reflected, and this is called total internal reflection. What is total internal reflection? Now, the surface now becomes a mirror. Now, the whole training in spiritual process is that the mind should become a mirror. The mind should be able to reflect whatever it sees just as it is. That is called yatha bhutam. Normally, the mind has so much of past information and past programming. And because of my past information and past programming, I'm not able to see the world as it is. I may see it through the filter of my mind. But through mind training, we attain to a state of mano nigraha or control of the mind. And the ultimate is what is called mano nasha or amani bhava. And when the mind becomes a mirror, and Gautama Buddha calls it yatha bhutam, to be able to see as it is. And that's an enlightened mind which reflects objects just the way it is without any contamination of the mind. In Vedanta, we use the example of mirages all the time. For example, when you're driving on a hot day, you see shimmering water on the road, and as you drive past, there is no water at all. Mirages are optical illusions that occur when the light bends as it passes through layers of airs of different temperature. Now, this is a common example. If you see a pencil in a glass of water and you see it bent, and the question is, to correct that bend that I see, what should I do? I'm clearly seeing that the pencil is bent. The normal answer would be, I have to take the pencil out of the water. The answer would be, you don't have to do anything. Why? The pencil is never bent. It is only an appearance. You will have to make a mental correction that the pencil has not been bent at all. It is only an appearance. And this is how the Gaudapada Karikas conclude in a very powerful verse in the Advaita Prakaranam. Na kinchit jayate jivaha. Nobody is ever born. Sambhava asyana vidyate. There is no cause or effect. Yetad uttamam satyam. This is the highest truth. Yatra kinchit na jayate. Where nothing ever is born. Gaudapadacharya makes a great insistence that nothing is ever born. We have been Brahman, we are Brahman, we will always be Brahman. And because of the mind, because of these upadhis, we have an impression of an aberration. There is no aberration, there is no problem. The problem is in our mind, and we have to set that right. What is a rainbow? A rainbow occurs when the sunlight passes through raindrops in the atmosphere, separating the colors into the spectrum of the Vibgyor spectrum. Some more information about light. Light is that which travels the fastest, almost 2 lakh kilometers per second, 1,86,000 miles per second. And therefore, the moon light takes 1.3 seconds to travel from the moon to the earth, or sunlight takes 8 light minutes. That means 8 minutes is the time taken for the light to move 1,96,000 miles. That is the distance between, that is the speed of light, 93 million miles away. And that is the distance between the earth and the sun. Now, in Ramaraksha, there is a nice verse which compares the speed of Hanuman as faster than light. I'll request Shamala to chant this for me.
मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये
So what travels faster than light? Our mind travels faster than light. And in our tradition, Lord Hanuman is compared to, has got the siddhi to be able to travel as fast as the mind, which means to be able to travel faster than the light. Now let us look scientifically how seeing happens. When you look around, you see so many objects. How is seeing happen? Seeing is possible because light falls on that object. It gets reflected from that object. It filters through the clear medium of the cornea, and the lens will focus it on the retina. And therefore, any object that I see, for example, if I'm seeing a large tree, the tree now becomes a few millimeters size on each of my eyes in an upside down fashion. Now, the retina is able to convert light energy to electrical energy, and through the optic nerves, through the optic chiasm, through the optic radiation, that is how the information passes finally to the occipital cortex. The brain is now able to convert the light, the signals from both the eyes. It is able to fuse both the images and to reverse the upside down image and to make those two images one, and not only give me a clear image of the tree and also give me a certain depth perception, and I know exactly how far the tree is away from me. So that is how seeing happens. Let us try to understand how the mind processes information. And Bhagwan Ramana has given a very simple technique to understand how seeing happens. Now, few terms to understand is, what is this idam vritti, aham vritti, and aham? Vritti means thought. That means if I'm seeing the tree has now been reduced to a thought. Now, in my mind, there are many thoughts because I'm seeing many objects, or all of them have been reduced to a thoughts. Although there are many thoughts because I'm seeing many objects, there is one central thought called aham vritti. There is another thought. I am also a thought in my mind. So I am seeing the wall, I am seeing the computer, I am seeing the camera, I am seeing the tree. So these thoughts are supported by one thought called the aham vritti, and that aham vritti is supported by aham, or the real me. So there is a nice verse from Upadesha Sara which goes like this: Manasantu kim margane krite naiva manasam marge arjavat. Manasantu kim. When you inquire in this way, what is this thing called the mind? You will see naiva manasam. There is no real thing called the mind. So the mind is again an appearance. There is nothing real called the mind. Marge arjavat. Now this is the direct path. So the whole journey of seeing or experiencing comes from idam vritti, when the whole world is now reduced into thoughts, to aham vritti, to the one who's seeing the thoughts, to consciousness, which is the one that illumines the minds. So Bhagavan says, there is a certain I thought, this ahankara. This ahankara is also supported by the I thought. And the I thought we call as Atma, or consciousness. Now, there are a few nice verses on light, which we normally listen to whenever there is a lighting of the lamp. I will request Shamala to chant this for us. Shamala, please.
ॐ शुभं करोति कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते।
Shubham karoti kalyanam. Arogyam dhanasampadam. Now, let this light bring in auspiciousness, bring in health, bring in wealth, and destroy all negativeness. And I prostrate to this light, which is Deepa Jyoti Parabrahma, Deepa Jyoti Janardana. Shamala, please.
दीपज्योतिः परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपं नमोऽस्तु ते.
During Sandhya time, Sandhya means twilight. It is said during Sandhya, which is Dvikala Sandhya, when the night gives way to the day early in the morning, or when the day gives way to the night in the evening. These are moments for us to spend time into introspection, into prayer, where I'm able to connect to my true nature, move from the light to the light of all lights. This is a nice verse from the Upanishad, which says, Om asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. From that which appears to be real to the real, from darkness to light, and through this understanding, you discover your true nature, that which is essentially deathless. The whole spiritual journey is from Deva to Deva or Mahadeva. Now, all our sense organs are considered as Devas. Devas means that because of which I'm able to see. All our sense organs are supported by a certain Devata, and all our Devatas are supported by the principal Devata or Brahman, whom we call as Mahadeva. So, from the light to the light of all lights. There is a wonderful composition by Adi Shankara called Ekashloki. The greatness of Adi Shankara is he is able to teach us Vedanta through various Prakarana Granthas like Tattvabodha, Atmabodha, Viveka Chudamani, which is in, like Viveka Chudamani, almost 600 verses. But he is able to give the same teaching in a capsule in a single verse, which is worth noting. Ekashloki, please, Shamala.
किं ज्योतिस्तव भानुमानहनिमे रात्रौ प्रदीपादिकम् स्यादेवं रविदीपदर्शनविधौ किं ज्योतिराख्याहि मे चक्षुस्तस्य निमीलनादिसमये किं धीर्धियो दर्शने किं तत्राहमतो भवान् परमकं ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो.
A beautiful verse. Kim Jyoti. This is the question asked by the teacher. How do you see? And the student replies, Banuman, because of the sun. Ahani, during the day. For me, Ratro, at night, is Pradipadikam. It is at night, it is because of the light. So the teacher says, Evam, that is fine. Syat, that is okay. Now, Ravi Deepa Darshano without. What is the means of seeing the sun and the lamp at night? Please tell me. Akyahi, may please tell me. So the student replies in one word, Chakshuhu. Then the teacher replies, Nimili Nada Samaya. What happens when you close your eyes? When you close your eyes, how does the seeing happens? And the student replies, because of my intellect. Even when I close my eyes, for example, because of my eyes and because of the light, I'm able to see everything. Now just close your eyes for a moment. You do not disappear. You still continue to know. You still continue to hear my voice. Now, where is that seeing happens? And the student replies, Dihi, because of my intellect. And the teacher asks, Diya Darshana, who sees the intellect? And the student replies, Aham. And the teacher concludes, Ataha. Therefore, Bhavan, you, Paramakam Jyotihi, you are the light of all lights. Because this is so important, I will repeat this once again. So the teacher asks, Guru asks, what is your source of light? How do you see? The student replies, during the day it is the sun and during the night it is a lamp. And then the teacher continues, says, what light is the means. So how are you able to see the sun? How are you able to see the lamp? It is because of my eyes as the students. What happens when the eyes are closed? What is that light which illumines when your eyes are closed? The student is able to say it is because of the intellect. And then the teacher says, what is the source of light for the intellect? The teacher says, it is me, the self. Then the teacher now draws your attention to the one who knows everything. That knower, the teacher now declares, that is your own self, is the light of all lights. The student realizes, oh yes, my Lord, I am that supreme light. I will request Shamala to chant this once again, please, and let us understand this.
किं ज्योतिस्तव भानुमानहनिमे रात्रौ प्रदीपादिकम् स्यादेवं रविदीपदर्शनविधौ किं ज्योतिराख्याहि मे चक्षुस्तस्य निमीलनादिसमये किं धियो दर्शने किं तत्राहमतो भवान् परमकं ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो.
Thank you very much. Then there is this great Gayatri mantra. Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyor Yona Prachodayat. Om Pranava, which means silence, which is both Saguna and the Nirguna description of the Lord. Bhur Bhuva Suvaha. These are called the Vyavrittis. In the waking, dream, deep sleep states. That means in all the states of my life, in this world or in the intermediate world or in the heavens, let my whole experiences be pervaded by the experience of Omkara or silence. Tat, that Savituhu Varenyam is worthy of worship. Savituhu refers to the sun or the sun of consciousness. Bhargaha, description, it is effulgent. Devasya, it is divine. Dhimahi, I meditate on the light of that effulgent sun. That means I am both seeing the light, because of which I'm able to see, and I'm able to see my mind. I'm able to see the consciousness, because of which I'm able to see everything. Diyaha, my intellect. May this intellect of mine be realized, be prachodayat, may be enlightened. Another very beautiful mantra. We will now touch on few verses from the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, which talk about the light and the light of all lights. Shamala, please.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम.
Surya na basate. The sun cannot illumine. Illumine what? That Atma or consciousness. Tat, that. Na shashanka, neither the moon, nor the sun, nor pavaka, nor fire. Tat mama param dhama, that supreme abode of mine. What is that supreme abode of mine? That is my Atma or consciousness. So neither the sun, nor the moon, nor the stars, or the fire can illumine Atma. Yadgatva, having attained that, having realized that, na nivartante, there is no question of returning to this ordinary life. Taddama paramam mama. The sun does not illumine, the moon or the fire cannot illumine my supreme abode. That means our whole life is to be able to attain to that Atma, and having attained to that Atma, there is no question of coming back. Now, this verse is a Brahma Lakshana Shloka. It is talking about the nature of Brahman, that Brahman can never be objectified or experienced by any instrument of knowledge. It cannot be illumined by anything. Now, to convey this, Upanishad used the examples of light. Light is that in whose presence things are known. Every sense organ, like my eyes, can be compared to a light, and therefore they are all called devas. Any instrument of knowledge, like my mind or my eyes and ears, are also called light. Now, scriptural words are also called light. For example, any word, supposing I don't understand something and another person says, can you throw some light on it? And then you will say, you will explain it through words. And then you say, yes, I got it. So words can also be compared to light. Now, Brahman is the consciousness that illumines everything. It knows matter, but it cannot be known by matter. That which can never be known, that which is not a prameya, anything that can be known through an instrument of knowledge. The instrument of knowledge is called a pramana. Through the pramana, through my eyes and ears, I get to know many things. That which I get to know is called prameya. Brahman can never be a prameya. It is aprameya. It cannot be objectified, but it exists. And therefore, it is not an object, it is the subject. It is the ultimate experiencer which can never be experienced. Now, how far should I travel to reach Brahman? If Brahman is I, the subject, how far should I travel to reach myself? I don't have to travel at all. I have to discover very clearly that there is no distance between Brahman and myself. I must drop the misconception that Brahman is other than myself. This knowledge is called merger. There is no other form of merger with the Lord, and this is called jivatma, paramatma, aikya. Another verse from the Gita, from the 13th chapter. Shamala, please.
ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम्.
Tad Jyoti, that light, we are talking about that light or the light of consciousness, is Jyotisham api Jyoti, Uchate, is said to be the light of all lights. And what is the description? Paramam Tamasaha. It is something that is beyond ignorance. That means it cannot be affected by ignorance. It has the ability to illumine ignorance. Normally, light and darkness do not coexist. But this light, this Jyotisham Jyoti, can exist with ignorance. That means I know many things. I do not know certain things. For example, I do not know Chinese, but I know that I do not know. Now, this knowledge which can illumine ignorance is called Param Tamasaha. It is beyond ignorance. That knowledge is Jnanam. It is knowledge. Deyam, it is the object of knowledge. And Jnana Gamyam, it is the goal of knowledge. And it is present in the heart of all. That is what this verse says. This beautiful verse from the 13th chapter says, it is the light of all lights. It is said to be beyond ignorance. It is both the knowledge, object of knowledge, and the goal of knowledge. And it is present in the heart of everybody. Now, a little more elaboration on this Tamasaha Param. With this unique light, one can even know darkness. Normally, light can illumine everything except darkness. In the presence of light, darkness vanishes. We gain knowledge of this ignorance only through consciousness. So Brahman alone is jnana. Brahman is the means of knowledge through which we come to know. Brahman is the object of knowledge. And because it is Brahman, and therefore the subject, the object, and the instrument. This is normally called Triputi. Brahman is all three. So who am I? I am the witness, I am the sakshi. That is one which is located in the heart. Even though Brahman is everywhere, we have to recognize Brahman as consciousness within our own mind. That I am conscious being is self-evident. I am, I know. I am conscious of my mind even when it is blank. That consciousness, which is the witness of the presence of thoughts and the absence of thoughts, that is called the sakshi, and that is what we call here as the light of all lights. There is another famous mantra often chanted during the time of Arati. It comes in many Upanishads like Mundaka-upanishad, Katha-upanishad, and Na Tatra Suryo Bhati. Shamala, please.
न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चन्द्रतारकम् नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः तमेव भान्तामनुभाति सर्वम् तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति.
A very popular and a famous mantra. The essence of this mantra is Atma is the knower of everything. And I'm repeating what I've already said. It can never become the object of knowledge. Vedanta says there is one thing which need not be proved at all, but it is definitely existent. The prover need not be proved. Consciousness is ever existent. Pratibodha Viditam Matam. In every experience, the experiencer is there. Tatra na bhati. All these are incapable of illumining the Atma or consciousness. When the sun or the moon cannot illumine, what talk about that ordinary lamp that I'm lighting? This is something we need to understand. What is the meaning of Tameva Bantam Anubhati Sarvam? Tameva Bantam. Because of the light of consciousness and because of this light within me, Sarvam Anubhati, everything is really revealed because of the self-evident Atma. In English or in any language, we talk about the second person and the third person. The second person or the third person. Second person, you. The third person, he, she, it can be known only when the first person is existent. And that is the meaning of Tameva Bantam Anubhati Sarvam. Another beautiful verse from the Mundaka-upanishad. Shamala, please.
हिरण्मये परे कोशे विरजं ब्रह्म निष्कलं तच्छुभ्रं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिस्तद्यदात्मविदो विदुः.
Another very beautiful mantra. This is a Mahavakya mantra which unites the jivatma and paramatma. It says there is no separate jivatma from paramatma. Brahman, Atma, is free from all impurities, including ignorance or maya. That is the meaning of the word virajam. Swamiji gives a nice explanation of Nishkalam. In fact, the whole Mundaka Upanishad becomes famous for this mantra because it talks about Brahman as Nishkala. Kala means division or parts. We talk of Chandra Kala, the different parts of the moon. Brahman does not have parts, and therefore there is no jivatma other than paramatma. So aikyam does not mean union or merger. Aikyam means these two are different words for one and the same. Technically, it is called samanyadikaranam. They are different words which mean one and the same. So this mantra, Hiranmaye Pare Koshe. Hiranmaye means golden, effulgent. Pare, the highest koshe. Which koshe we are talking about? Of the vijnanamaya kosha. The vijnanamaya kosha represents here the jivatma. And the jivatma is not separate from the paramatma. For example, in the Vishnu Sahasranama, there are 1,000 names, but all of them refer to only one. The word Shubram is very similar to the Rajam. And Jyotisham api Jyoti. It is the light of all lights. Where is this paramatma? This paramatma is in the vijnanamaya kosha. And because of the proximity, the vijnanamaya kosha becomes bright, brilliant, and effulgent. Of all the koshas, it is the vijnanamaya kosha which has the ability to download Brahman. And that is why we are alive and we are conscious. The Vijnanamaya Kosha enlivens my mind, the mind enlivens my sense organs, my sense organs enliven my body, and therefore I become sentient. That is the meaning of Hiranmaya. Bright because it is sentient, it acts as a reflector. The mind is alive because of consciousness. In that kosha, Brahman is evident. And pare means sacred or the highest. So, because it is the dwelling place of Brahman, because Vijnanamaya Kosha is the dwelling place, it is like the sanctum sanctorium. So, Brahman is present there as the witness consciousness or the sakshi. And Atma Vidaha. So, whoever knows the witness very clearly, that person, Tad Brahma Viduhu, that person knows Brahman. That means jivatma and paramatma are one and the same. That is why self-realization and God realization are not two different things. In the Dakshinamurti Stotra, there is a very nice verse which talks about the light of all lights. Shamala, please.
नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिः स्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभाते तत्समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये
Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. I make my prostration to Dakshina Murti, who is Lord Shiva in the form of a teacher who's come as Dakshina Murti. Dakshina Murti for me is none other than my Guru Murti. My Guru has taken my Dakshina Murti has come in the form of Guru Murti, in the form of my Guru. And thanks to my Guru, I have been able to see the light of all lights. A very beautiful example of a pot with many holes. The pot represents my body. The holes represent my sense organs. The bright light within the pot represents my consciousness. Through these numerous holes, beams of light emerge, and because of which the whole world, which is the dark room, becomes illumined, and therefore it is an example of how I get to know everything. There are two words which we need to remember. One is called Samanya Anubhava or Samanya Jnanam and Vishesha Jnanam. There is something called Samanya Jnanam. Samanya Jnanam is Atma or consciousness or the principle of awareness. But when the principle of awareness goes through my mind and sense organs, it becomes Vishesha Jnanam or Vishesha Anubhava. When I'm able to see this computer in front of me, I'm able to see all these objects, I'm able to know everything. So there are two kinds of knowledge. So every particular experience, that means if I'm able to listen, if I'm able to see, it presupposes the presence of Atma or consciousness. So therefore, to see the light of all lights, we do not require any special experience. We need to move from the light to the light of all lights. That is why in and through every experience, in every experience, consciousness is evident. That is why we remember this mantra again and again, Pratibodha Viditam. In every experience, let me become aware of the experiencer. Hasta Malakiya, one of the acharyas with Adi Shankara. When he was a little boy, he brought out the entire Hasta Malakiyam. And in every verse, he quotes, Sanityopalabdhi swarupoham atma, Sanityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. I am that Nityopalabdhi swarupa, self-conscious atma. Because of that self-conscious, everything becomes evident. It illumines my mind and sense organs. Now, before I know anything, janami iti, that means before I get to know the wall, the computer, I know myself. I know the Atma. I know this body-mind complex. So Atma is comparable to light. The mind is comparable to a medium which reflects the light. The mind is the pramata or the limited knower through the sense organs. And everything is possible because of the Atma through the mind. So every perception presupposes the existence of the sense organs, the mind, and finally the light of all lights, Atma. Janami iti tameva bandham anubhati sarvam. In the Isha Vasyopanishad, there is a concluding part, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There is a prayer which is called the Charama Prarthana. Prayers and Upanishads never go together. But this is an exception. In the Isha Vasya Upanishad, there is a nice prayer. It begins with this prayer, Hiranmayena patrena satyasyahi pitam mukam tatvam pushanna parvarnu satyadharmaya drishtaye. Hiranmayena patrena. You know, you have been covered by that golden disc. This is a prayer to the sun. Whenever we do a Surya Namaskara, we do this prayer. Hiranmayena patrena. Can you remove that lid patra, which is golden, satyasyahi pitam mukam, so that I'm able to see your true face. Tattvam, Pushan, O sun, nourish me and show me the right path. Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. And finally, it concludes in the 20th verse, which says, Agnenaya supataraye asman vishwani deva vayunani vidvan yuyud yasmach juhurama ino huishtam tem nama uktim videma. This is a charama prayer. And this is a prayer when a person is dying. And because the person is dying, the body is weak. And he says, Nama uktim videma. I'm making this prayer verbally because I'm not able to prostrate. O Agni. Now, the person is preparing to die. The person is making a prayer to Lord Agni. Agni Nayasupataraye Asman. Asman means for us, O Agni, show me the Supataraye. Show me the bright path. Now, this is the bright path which is called the Shukla Gati. For some reason, if I'm not able to get Jivan Mukti, the final prayer, that is why in the Bhagavad Gita, the 8th chapter, it talks about Krama Mukti. If I'm not able to get to Jivan Mukti, there is another path called Krama Mukti. And this prayer prays for Krama Mukti, to remember the Lord at the time of death, to pray to Lord Agni and show me Supataraye Asman. O Lord, Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan, you know everything. And I have done so many wrong things also. But please forgive me my mistakes and give me value for whatever good that I have done and show me the Supataraye Asman. Again and again, I do Namaskara to you. O Agni, please lead me by the good path. You know all my deeds. Destroy my deceitful sin. We salute you again and again with your words. And finally, this is a nice prayer which comes from Brahma Jnana Balli. This is a series of beautiful prayers which begins by Asangoham, 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 Punah Punah. Very useful for Nidityasanam. And this is it concludes with the light of all lights. Shamala, please.
Antarjyotihi Bahirjyotihi Pratyakjyotih Parat Paraha Jyoti Jyotihi Swayam Jyotihi Atma Jyoti Shivosmyaham Jyoti Jyotihi स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिः शिवोऽस्म्यहम्.
Thank you very much. What a beautiful declaration. This understanding through Guru and the scriptures we learn. Antar Jyoti, I am within, I am light. Bahir Jyoti, externally also light. Pratyak Jyoti Parat Para, I am the highest. Jyotir Jyoti, I am the light of all lights. Swayam Jyoti, I am self-effulgent. I am Atma Jyoti, I am the light of all consciousness. And Shivo, I am Shivaha. I declare that I am auspicious. I am Shivaha. What is the final conclusion? Sadashiva Brahmendra, the great master, had one beautiful composition. In that composition, he says, Manasa Sancharare Brahmani Manasa Sancharare. Wherever your mind goes, your mind is seeing so many objects. Your mind is now listening to these words. Even though your mind is on the objects, can you shift from the object to the subject? Manasa Sancharare, let my mind dwell on Brahman all the time, from the object to the subject, from Deva to Deva Deva, from Jyoti to Jyotisham, Api Jyoti, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.